Good evening, and welcome to the Blue and White Project. I'm your host, Bruce Cooper. This evening, we have the distinct ability to have a conversation with Demetrica Todd-Ruiz, a woman who grew up in Bridgeton, New Jersey, humble beginnings, but has set herself aside in this life and in this community. She's a leader, she's an attorney, she's a community activist, she does so much. And tonight, we're going to show you, and you're going to hear about some of the things that she's done in her life. How are you this evening?
Good evening. I'm well. Thank you.
All right. Good to see you.
Likewise. Good to see you.
So I gave everyone that introduction about you.
Which was very nice.
And
Thank you.
I'm glad you like it. I really want them to get a sense of who you are, a little bit about your background, and we're going to delve into some things further as we go.
Okay.
But just give us a sense of who you are, where you grew up, and how you got started.
Certainly. All right. Demetrica Todd-Ruiz grew up right here in the city of Bridgeton in public housing development, which we call the projects, formerly known as Maplewood Gardens. Address 54 Birch Street. So went to Bridgeton Public Schools from elementary to middle school to high school. Graduated several years ago from Bridgeton Senior High School. And that's where I began.
So you went from Bridgeton Senior High. Now let's talk about a little bit about your upbringing. So you grew up in Bridgeton in Maplewood Gardens.
That's correct.
What was that like growing up there as a young kid? Tell us about that.
You know, it was different than it is today. I actually would probably go as far to say I wouldn't want to grow up in the projects in this day and age. So when I grew up, we played hopscotch. We played
A lot of people don't know what that is anymore, hopscotch.
We did double dutch, hide and seek, but you still also had to be aware of your surroundings. So there was still like drugs being distributed, sold, used. There were also some unkeenly individuals that you wanted to stay away from. And most of the individuals in the projects were on limited income. So it was fun and rough at the same time. But thankfully, God blessed me with a 2-parent household. So I had both a mother and a father, a father who worked and took care of his family. I'm the youngest of 4. And I would say that they did an awesome job because all 4 went on to college.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a great story. They all 4 went to college, and you grew up in those humble beginnings in Maplewood. But did you really realize what you were really growing up in, that type of environment?
You know, I would say I didn't. I thought, you know, that this is what childhood is, whether you grew up in the 4-bedroom house or the 3-bedroom apartment where you shared with your other 2 sisters. Like, that was life for me. So I guess maybe I didn't realize because my parents, who are God-fearing individuals, took me to church. I would actually say that I started going to church before my parents started going to church with another family that lived in the projects. So I probably didn't realize it at the time, and it was something in hindsight. I can thank God that I had the parents that I had, and they raised me the way that they did, so I could make the decisions that I made. And that was only grace and mercy that I didn't make the decisions that I made. So I can sit here and talk to you about what he has blessed me with.
Amen. And just to hear that is so inspiring. How you were there, you didn't really understand the surroundings, but you persevered, and that's something I think today that our young children can benefit from. But let me ask you this: what was it other than just the God-fearing parents? Was it education? Was there a mentor there?
Absolutely.
What was it that kept you focused on leading your life in the right way?
Oh, absolutely. I would say that it was parents who valued education and made sure that I obtained that education. I had individuals in my life, women who served as mentors for me from a very early age that took an interest in me. So those women were good role models for me. So they were individuals that I could model my life after. And I'm grateful for that. So definitely the education, and just remaining humble, knowing where you come from, where you want to go.
Absolutely.
And the examples that I had. I would like, my parents were great examples. Even though they did not obtain a high school education in, your normal way. My mom went on like years later to get her GED. And my dad, same, but he was a military man. But I think because they had it in them, they instilled in me, education that is how you succeed, through education.
Right, and that's something that we'd like to get across to the children of today. Just, it's okay to be educated. A lot of these children today believe that, it's not cool.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're educated and you should be doing other things. You should be doing other things out there other than education. But what we want to show today is education is cool.
Let me share. Yeah. Can I?
Sure.
I was called a sellout. I was called a nerd. I was called other derogatory names just because I was pursuing education, just because education was important to me. And I guess, I'm going to go back to the strength that was instilled in me, because I can see how names could hurt someone, because I've seen it. Like, bullying is real.
Right.
I never felt that, though. Like, I was strong enough in my own self, in my own skin, to understand that Meech, nickname is Meech, you may be the only black person in this advanced class, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Your counterparts in the projects might be calling you a nerd or a sellout, but that's okay. So I think it's important to understand, as long as you know who you are and have that confidence in who you are and the esteem. Like, I see that to be a struggle with a lot of young ladies, like the esteem that they lack because they seek it in the wrong places. So if you can seek esteem in education instead of a guy or a girl, that's awesome. So that's where I found myself. So names didn't bother me.
So it's interesting, you found yourself in those classrooms being the only African American.
Absolutely.
And you had probably your peers saying, oh, you're corny.
Absolutely.
What are you doing in that class? You need to be hanging with me. But you persevered in those settings, and you provided the examples, hopefully for them as well, to be a part of that. Now, what I want to find out is, what do you say to that child that's struggling today with that sense of should I be a nerd, or should I value school? Should I value education? What would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
It's the same advice that I give to my 14-year-old daughter. To be yourself and to be a leader and not a follower. Even if no one is following you, that you are the one that's leading your own path and you're not following someone taking you down their path. So I would say, like, you have to be yourself, and that means being comfortable in your own skin. I was comfortable wearing matched Converses because that's what I wanted to do.
It's a pretty good style, too. I mean, come on.
Like, different color Converses.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do. That's what I did. If I wanted to wear different color socks, I wanted to do that. That's what I did. As long as I was respectful to other individuals and I'm not harming myself and I'm not harming anyone else. So be yourself. And that goes back to that. Hopefully you have people around you that are instilling the confidence, the esteem that you need, that's required.
And that backs
so you're
it up.
comfortable
Right.
being yourself. Because everyone, I see it. I actually see it in adults that they are not comfortable because they lack those characteristics and elements.
Right.
So that's what I would say. Like, be yourself, be a leader, don't follow. Make your own mistakes.
Now let's fast forward a little bit further. Now, you, outside of Bridgeton, you graduated and you went on to college. Where did you go?
So I attended Widener University in Chester, Pennsylvania. I pursued a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in accounting. Stayed there for an additional 1 year in an accelerated program where I obtained my Master's of Science in Taxation. So I was taking my graduate courses during my senior year of my undergrad. So I was in class during the day, and then I would go to my graduate classes at night so I could fulfill the requirements for the graduate degree within 1 year. So that worked for me. I actually love school. If I could be paid to go to school, I would be a professional student.
Me too.
So
Hi. I love
I absolutely love school.
And we found you not just by what your prowess in being a law professor and a person within Bridgeton doing things in the community, but let's get bigger here in this community. Let's come back here. In this community, you've done some really big things in this community that people need to know about. Tell us about some of those things.
Okay. Locally, I serve as the prosecutor for Bridgeton Joint Municipal Court. Prior to that, I served as the public defender in that court. So I've been in a capacity of either defense or prosecution within the municipality for over 8 years and love it.
You have dual personalities, huh?
Right, no, yeah. So I actually found myself running into the same people that I grew up with, or maybe their children, or maybe their parents. So I'm in a position where I have served as a public defender, I served as counselor to defendants, mentor to defendants, an ear, motivator, and now being on the other side prosecuting, I still wear those same hats because I'm from here. Like I understand the challenges that you face, and I understand the decisions that you find yourself having to make. And hopefully, as they see me on the other side of the table, and I do see this because most people respect the position that I'm in, which is great because they know I'm not doing anything that I don't have to do in my position. So they actually respect me as prosecutor, even though sometimes that comes with a heavy hand. But because I'm from the community, it works. Some of my board positions include Seabrook House, Complete Care, which is health care,
Right.
Cumberland County Habitat for Humanity. Just recently rolled off of the Rutgers Cooperative Extension 4-H Advisory Council for Cumberland County, and I served on that board for, wow, probably a decade. And I still serve in a parent leadership capacity because my daughter's in 4-H. Did some volunteer parent work with Girl Scouts, and sure I'm missing some, but
I think you got a lot in there.
yeah, that's local. That's what I do locally. Yeah.
Amazing just hearing about so much that you do in this community, and I know they're thankful for it. But I know it's always good to have someone who came from the community helping out, especially on in that same law capacity.
Yeah.
We really need that in the communities, just to help people understand, because that's one of the biggest areas within our community that we don't really understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to be in a position where people trust me enough to know that I'm truthful when it comes to delivering justice, that makes me smile, that makes me proud, that they respect me enough to know that I'm being truthful. I should also mention that I serve as Director of Economic Development for Gateway Community Action Partnership, that is truly my passion. Like, I enjoy the work that I do at the nonprofit because it allows me, again, to interact with the same individuals, and in that capacity, I'm helping them go from renters to homeowners. I'm helping them repair credit. I'm helping them to save for a business.
Wow.
So that is truly my passion, like working with the community in that regard, and then that translates into my position as prosecutor, where I continue to help in the judicial arena.
Demetrica Todd-Ruiz, a leader, a mother, a lawyer, and another sister of Zeta Phi Beta, doing positive things in the community, changing lives for the future. So we've talked a lot about many aspects of your life, but we have yet to talk about how long you've been a sister of Zeta Phi Beta and some of the beautiful things that you've done. How long have you been a Zeta?
20 years.
Nice.
Absolutely. And my heart yearns for Zeta Phi Beta. So blue and white is my family, and absolutely adore my sorors in my chapter of Gamma Nu Zeta, Camden County, under the leadership of our basilisk, Tytisha Smith. And there, I serve on the committees of social action, bylaws, membership, and policies and procedures.
Wow.
Absolutely love it.
And what do you guys have? You had anything going this year that we need to know about?
Oh, lots of fundraisers. We actually have this month coming up our cabaret, second cabaret for the year. We do 2 cabarets a year. Our annual Finer Womanhood Scholarship Luncheon, which happens during the month of March. Lots of fundraisers right now. I can sell you a Boscov's coupon before we leave.
I'm ready. I've been to a couple of your fundraisers. They are really good.
Absolutely.
You guys do a really good job with those.
And we have the youth auxiliaries. We are graduate advisors to the undergraduate campuses of Rowan and Rutgers. So Chapter does a lot. And I help when and where I can. But being here in Cumberland County, the distance prevents me at times from doing as much as I would like to. But I would probably be nowhere other than Gamma Nu Zeta as I'm serving Zeta.
Outstanding chapter. I know a lot of the ladies there, beautiful ladies. They do a lot of good work in the community.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the community, what would you, in conclusion, what would you give, what kind of advice would you give to our youth today in order for them to see some hope for their future?
I would say follow your heart, but only when you are educating the mind that will lead you down the path. Always ask God to order your steps, and know that mistakes are opportunities for growth and to learn, so you don't have to keep making the same mistakes. You learn from it, get back on the track, and continue down the path, because there is a brighter day, brighter future, and hopefully I'm an example of that, coming from the projects and now serving in the community where I grew up. Awesome.
That's the ultimate in giving back.
Awesome.
And I'm sure that the youngsters will heed your advice, and we really appreciated the time.
Absolutely.
We really appreciated it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And there you have it, another episode of the Blue and White Project. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
Philly's everything, especially the Eagles. So don't talk bad about them. If that's not your team, don't let me know. Okay. Is he doing okay?
Is that good?
Is he nodding?
Keep going.
Is he?